Welcome back. I hope that this segment of the study on Jacob's trouble and deliverance will be very helpful for you. We read in Genesis chapter 32:14 that Jacob sent Esau some gifts, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams. Interesting that it should be sheep and goats because God is going to separate between the sheep and the goats in Matthew 25, probably not long in the future. Okay, 220 equals restoration. Let's look at that. Okay, we had 220 sheep and 220 goats. And we know that Jesus is going to separate between the sheep and the goats eventually. And this whole process, he was making a reconciliation or a restoration to favor with Esau. And when the sheep and the goats are separated, there's going to be a population of God's kingdom restored. So God will have his people, that he rules over. His people will be restored. The kingdom will be restored. Now this 220 shows up again in Noah's flood. Genesis 8:3-14. Let's take a look at that. Genesis 8, verses 3-14. And the waters returned from off the earth continually, and after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated, and the ark rested in the 7th month on the 17th day of the month upon the mountains of Ararat. This is part of how we establish that there's in the Bible each month is 30 days evenly, 360 days to the year. And verse 14, and in the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. Oh, I should move up to verse 13. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. So that was the 1st month. In the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. So then we have 7 30-day months. 7 30-day months of the ark resting. This is not the flood, but from the time the ark, tongue-tied, resting till the time he left, the time of reconciliation, restoration, the restoration of the earth. The flood part was over, and it was the rebuilding time was to begin. So we had 7 months, that was horrible looking, of the ark resting. Oh, yeah. So, 7 times 30 days per month equals 210 days, plus the extra 10 days from the 17th to the 27th day, verse 14, equals 220 days. Yeah, 220. Also, we have 220 years. Where? from the capture of Manasseh in 2 Chronicles 33:11, 33:11, to the going forth of the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem in Daniel 9:25, Ezra. Okay, we got Daniel 9:25, Ezra. Wow. Ezra 7:13. So we say the way this works out, 457 BC plus 220 years equals 677 BC. And we start the 457 BC, and we start the 2300 days, 2300 years, plus 220 makes 2520 years. Now this 457 to 2300 years to 1844 is the restoration of the sanctuary. And from 677 BC to 1844, 2520 years, is restoration of the host. Hope that makes sense to you. 457 BC is the 2300 years to 1844. It's the restoration of the sanctuary. 677 BC is the 2520 to 1844 is the restoration of the host. The sanctuary is in heaven, but we are the host. Also, the 220 is symbolically the 10th day of the 7th month. 7th month, 10th day. Or what we call the Day of Atonement. The day of at-one-ment, our restoration to the favor of God in the sanctuary, in the symbolic sense. And so 220 becomes an important number in the Bible. And I hope that you can accept that which has been discovered here. Thank you very much for watching.